Hey guys, welcome back. So up today we're going to do a top 10 list of my favorite Call of Duty Mega Construx figures. So again, this is my opinion. This is purely based off of the figures that I prefer. And I'm looking back from when the line started at 2013 to current. So right before we get into the top 10 list, I just want to do some memorable mentions. So obviously Alex Mason from the Light Armor Outpost base. This was part of Wave 1. Good figure. Didn't make my top 10, but thought he was definitely, worth mentioning to have. So he is one of the honorable mentions. Next one up is Frost. So this guy came packaged with Sandman in the hovercraft set. Why this figure didn't make top 10 for me is that the generic face mold, right? This was a playable character in the Modern Warfare series. And typically, with that being said, you never see the face. They never do a face mold for the figures, and because of so, Mega decided to take the initiative not to provide that figure a face. So that's why I didn't make the list. Last up of the honorable mentions would have to be the most notorious evil bad guy out of the Modern Warfare series, Makarov. So great figure, came in Series 3 Heroes line. Off of the No Russian Mission is what he's decked out in. Great figure, great mold. Didn't make my list, but thought he was worth mentioning. So let's get these guys in the back. Let's get into the top 10. So in my top 10 position, I have the Black Ops 3 Soldier. So this set came with the Wraith playsets, and I think one of the bad guys, but this is again that kind of generic character from Black Ops 3 that you play as. That's on the front of the cover of the game. I love it. I think the paint and deco, the sculpting for the figure, the armor, as well as the inclusion of, at the time, these were brand new M6 pistol molds for Black Ops 3. So this was a really cool figure to have. And it came in a relatively cheap set. So he is going to be in my number 10 slot. Moving on to number 9, we have another generic troop. So this guy came from the those shipping container crates. This was out of the first wave for him. And what really set this apart for me, the reason why I really like this guy is this was the first time that Mega did the ACU or the multicam pattern fatigue lower pants. And it's not ACU or the Army combat uniform, but it's close enough to it. So what I really dug about this is that we're getting close to military themed military fatigues for our figures. Top of that, he's got the exposed forearms. He just looks kitted out, and he's a great figure. I was a really big fan of this, and so that's why he is in my top 9 position. Moving to number 8. If you guys have seen my Series 5 Heroes line review, then Gideon is in that. Gideon has been an awesome character in the Advanced Warfare game. He was a support character. You never played as him. He was kind of the guy that helped guide you through some stuff, and so he's a support character. But overall, this was the great figure. This was the first time that we got a licensed release of Gideon in Series 5, and I think he looks great. Gideon's a fan favorite for me. I loved him as a character, so he definitely made my list at number 8. Moving to number 7, following that Series 5 line, it's got to be Ruin from Black Ops 4. So Ruin is my favorite specialist. He has been my favorite specialist through Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. My preferred, look of Ruin is what he looks like in Black Ops 4, and so this version of Ruin is based off of Black Ops 4. So he doesn't have the mechanical arms yet at this point. He's got the cool slick back, mohawk, the tattoos. He just looks cooler, in my opinion, than what they had him represented in Black Ops 3, which is supposed to be in the future. But overall, very nice figure. In addition to that, we got a new mold for a assault rifle, so that is awesome too. So he is going to be in my number 7 slot. Moving on to number 6 is going to be Ghost. So this figure was an exclusive through Walmart. It was only able to be, I think, purchased, or you could only acquire it through a pre-order. You had to pre-order Call of Duty Ghosts, the video game, through Walmart. was how you were able to get this figure. So he is an exclusive in that sense. The figure has never been released in any other sets, and what has not been released is that head mold, right? Everything else in the figure is generic. Everything else has been released in other sets, but it's that face mold right there that has not been released in any other sets. They have had a few ghost sets since the release of this figure, but none of them have used this face mold, which it has remained exclusive for that pre-order bonus. So it's a cool figure to have. That's why he's in my top 6. I liked the Ghost video game. It was a fun game, but you know, again, it was not the greatest Call of Duty. So cool figure, very hard to get now, given the exclusivity, but I am glad that I got him. Moving into my number 5 position is going to be Soap, and this is based off of his Modern Warfare. This is Modern Warfare 2, his Night Ops mission with Captain Price. I think they were in Paris or something like that. They were in Europe doing some undercover stuff. But I love how he's displayed in the Hero Series 2 line. He's got the subdued British flag in the back. He comes with the Benellium for assault-style shotgun, a nice knife, and then overall just he's got that really cool just the camouflage paint deco on the face, right? So I'm a big fan of this figure, this version of it. I have 3 other versions of Soap, but this has always been my favorite, given the paint deco, the sculpting for the figure, and then the accessories that he has. So we're going to put him in my number 5 slot. Moving on to number 4, continues that Task Force 141 line. We've got Simon Reilly Ghost, and so this is off of his Series 5 release. So this is, in my opinion, a more definitive version of Reilly that we've gotten. So this is the second version that we've gotten of the figure. He was released the first time in the Task Force 141 like battle set, where it had 20 figures and a bunch of Task Force 141 figures named. But the paint deco, everything on it was very generic, very basic. Essentially, what really set that figure apart was the face mold for it. As you can see with my figure, the fine detailing of that skull on the balaclava isn't great. I will say, when looking back on the first release, that has been a little more crisp. However, the goggles in the first one are cut down the middle. It's really weird. I'll do a comparison video at some point for it, but it doesn't look great. So overall, this has definitely been my definitive version of Simon Ghost Reilly out of the Task Force 141 series. So very cool figure, very happy to have him. In my number 3 slot, we've got probably a huge fan favorite, Frank Woods. So this is his representation from Black Ops 1. This was, again, part of that Wave 1 release from Mega. This was, I think, with the rescue helicopter. Very cool figure. This was actually my first Mega Construx or Mega Blocks at that time pack. So this is what started it all for me, was this guy right here. And I remember, what really set me apart from this guy and getting into the Mega line was the detailing for this little guy. I mean, if you look at the face mold, this is Wave 1 of Mega Blocks when they started doing these figures. This was not the I guess the redo that they did a year later. This was the first run of these figures, and the face mold for this guy is phenomenal, right? I mean, you see the hair over the bandana, you got the beard in there, you've got the whites painted, and then you've got the pupils, and then we have the phenomenal articulation. And this figure is what got me into this line. He's got a really cool SOG tattoo on his right forearm, very cool. And then again, everything else is pretty generic, but again, this is, at the time, this was all brand new pieces. So this was a really cool figure. Still is a very cool figure, and that's why he's in my top 3. Very hard figure to get now, given the circumstances and that set. I think it kind of sits around $70 or $80 if you're lucky. So it is what it is. In my number 2 slot, it's got to be Sandman from the Modern Warfare series games. Sandman was freaking awesome. Loved the character. And then on top of that, I loved the playset that this figure came in. So again, out of Wave 1, we got the Dome Battle playset, where Sandman was released in that set. And so what I loved about this figure was, at the time, again, this was the first figure that had on his tack vest an American flag that was actually painted onto the tactical vest, which was different from any of the other figures. In addition to that, his helmet and the paint application for it had that really nice, it's like a skull with like that red diamond underneath it. Really cool. And then he's got, you know, again, a unique face mold. This face mold that they used for Sandman has not been used for any other figures. So that's always nice to have that when they have, you know, face molds and they remain exclusive to those licensed characters. In addition to that, he comes with a really nice dual molded knife and a dual molded smoke grenade. These are both two pieces that are very hard to get. They were pretty common in that first wave. Like most of the dual molded knives and the dual molded grenades came out in that first wave, and then, you know, after that, Mega stopped really caring about that attention to detail. So I don't think they've released dual molded knives or the smoke grenades in a long time. Moving into my number one slot, for some of you guys, this is not going to be a surprise. For some of you, it is. It's going to be Captain Price. Captain Price, hands down, has been my favorite character since the start of Modern Warfare when I started playing that game years and years and years ago. It has been, you know, for so many years I had waited for a action figure form or a figure of this character, and at the time, almost 7 years ago, when Mega announced this and they had the, you know, first license for Call of Duty figures and they did Price, I was extremely skeptical at first until I got this sucker out of the package. And so, again, this is wave one for the figure. As you can see, the paint deco on the guy is pretty darn clean. These are a little over 2 inches. They're 1/28 scale. So yes, they're not perfect. You know, the beard has kind of a thinner location on the left side, but everything on this figure is just, it's crisp. It looks great. And this is what really, I mean, these figures are what really set me apart from going against Lego and more towards Mega Construx, Mega Blocks, is because I loved the detailing for these figures and the collectability for it, the accessories that you can attach to it, the customization. It felt very similar to the game of Call of Duty where you can accessorize your firearms, you can go into battle however you want to do it. It's very, very unique and very neat in that process. He also, at the time, came packaged with that dual molded knife, very hard to find now. And as you can see, even with him, he did not come packaged with a dual molded smoke grenade. So that looks to be kind of exclusive to Sandman. Price is definitely hands down my favorite figure. This figure came out in the Heavy Armor Outpost set out of Wave 1, which is that large tank, kind of like an Abrams style tank with 2 other generic figures. These... Excuse me, the set is extremely rare at this point. It's been out of production for many, many years. If you can find it, you're going to find it kind of on third-party prices, you know, or listings through eBay, and be prepared to pay a very steep markup price for it. I think the last time that I looked at prices for it was about a year ago, and they were going for around $230. So prices fluctuate, obviously, but that's kind of what you're looking at to get this figure, which is a disappointment. In my opinion, this is definitely, hands down, the definitive version of Captain Price. And the reasoning behind that is the paint application for the face. So in Wave 1, this is when they were still doing the painting the whites of the eyes and the pupils as well. It really, in my opinion, it really made the characters come to life. They looked a lot better. I think it brought them a lot more depth. When they moved into Wave 2 and 3, that's when they went away from this and they started doing just the dots. And then soon after that, as we have, you know, this year, they're now just doing pinhole eyes like the Halo series. So that, in my opinion, is why this figure is so rare and so unique to me, and in my opinion, as opposed to the other versions of Captain Price that we've gotten, because, you know, the other variations that we've gotten just don't look as good as this guy, in my opinion. So with that being said, guys, I hope you liked what you saw, liked my top 10 list. Again, this is based off of my opinion. This is nobody else's. You could be, you know, completely disagree with the figures that I chose. If you did like the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'd like to know what your guys' favorite figures are out of the entire line. So not just, you know, out of Wave, not just Series 5, but take a look at from 2013 to present, and leave a comment as to what figure has been your favorite, or, you know, your top 5 or whatnot, because it's always nice to see, you know, where the favoritism lies. With that being said, guys, I don't have a whole lot else to say about the video, so I will catch you next time. Bye.